barkeb Sëriñ Salihu a'uuzu billahi mina shaytaani rajiim bismillahi rahmaani rahiim alhamdulillahi rabbil aalamiin rahmaani rahiim maaliki yawmi ddiin iyyaaka na'budu wa iyyaaka nasta'iin ihdinaa siraatal mustaqiim siraatal laziina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghduubi alayhim wa lad-daalliin amiin. Yeah, brothers and sisters, I am greeting you with the greatest form of greetings that human being has ever known, and that comes from Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a message from Allah to be an opening between a Muslim and his brother when it happens to be in relationship. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. First of all, I have to send you my apologies for not being able to send the video live on Facebook as I promised it. Yeah, we're having some technical problem about the Facebook. It's not working well. I think that is the operator, the network operator, that is having some trouble. But nevertheless, I'm making this video that I want you to post after for you to visualize it. It will be available either in Facebook and in YouTube. Yeah, the main subject we spoke about in the announcement deals with, at first, with the status of Sëriñ Salihu for being the renewal of Islam, what we call Mujadeed, and his status of being the Wareeth Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning the inheritor of Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now we cannot go further on the topic. Instead, we go in the basic knowledge that a Muslim must have is the ilm al-tawheed. So a Muslim must have what is called tawheed, is to believe in Allah. To believe in Allah, the books, the prophets, the angels, resurrection, the Jannah, paradise, hellfire, and the divine decree whenever it counts. So those basic pillars that are the fundamentals of Islam must be known and integrated first, because it is the first step that a Muslim must do, is to have Iman. Iman is the basis of Tawheed. So we have Iman, Islam, and Ihsan to explain religion. But our main subject today will deal about the existence of Allah in the creation of the worlds. So it is said in the Hadith, "Tahrifuni qabla an ta'buduni, wa in lam tahrifuni kayfa ta'buduni." Try and know me before you worship me. If you don't know me, how can you worship me? It is a hadith from Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is urging people to make research, to have true knowledge about the existence of Allah. Therefore, it becomes a duty for every Muslim, for every murid of Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, to try and have deep knowledge about Allah, the existence of Allah. So, the main knowledge you can have about the existence of Allah is the existence of His creatures, meaning the created beings. There is no created being without a creator. There is no created thing without a creator. There is no generated thing without a generator. So then we must know that the basic knowledge we must have is to try and get proofs of the existence of Allah. The existence of Allah, there is no need to ask many questions. We know that Allah is the creator. And the creator has created beings. Yeah, and those created beings are what we see around us. And it's ourselves. So therefore, the existence of Allah is explained and proved by our existence like created beings. All the Muslim faith is explained in details so that we can study it, learn it, and practice it. But the main concern of our discussion of today will be the divine wisdom of creation in the world, the divine wisdom of the creation of the world and the creation of Allah. So there is one hikmah that came in many spiritual and religious books, ancient books, that explain the origin of creation. It is said in some books that when Allah, glory to Him, wanted to show Himself, His inner reality, He wanted to manifest Himself, His inner being, He created an object. He created a plane of reflection where He will manifest his essence. I mean that He willed to create an entire being, a wholesome being, in which He will make what we call in Arabic tajalli. Tajalli means irradiation. He created a global object to be the qabil, the receptacle of His divine secret. And it is seen in the Quran with the creation of Adam, the same thing. So Allah created the world to be a global form that will have to receive, that will have to be a receptacle of the divine light. Therefore, we must know that it was one that will came. It has been done by the verb kun fayakun, be and it be. With that be and be, Allah created endless being, because there are endless universe. The number of universe, human being cannot know it. Human being cannot know how many universes there are in the existence. No one knows the cosmos. The more you go, the more you discover. The more you go, the more you discover. Why? Because Allah created the universe to be the plane of reflection of His attributes. There is no single particle in the universe that is not a recipient of Allah's light. There are billion thousands of words, endless words. So, after creating the universes, Allah wanted to put inside those universes His light. So He will contemplate His reality throughout a being. That is the reason He created Adam, for being the first creation that globalized all the attributes of Allah. MashaAllah. So that's why we see in the Quran when he spoke to the angel telling them, Inni is qala rabbuka lil malaikati inni ja'ilun khalilan fil ardi iza sawaytu wa nafakhtu fihi min ruhi fakhaw lahu sajidin. He said to the angels, I'm going to create in earth a vicegerent, meaning a representative, meaning a viceroy, someone who will be my representative, who will act on my behalf in earth. And the angels replied, will you create someone that will create, will kill people, will shed blood and misbehave, meantime that we will glorify you and sanctifying you? He say, Inni a'lamu la ta'lamun. I know what we do not know. Yeah, what we know that Allah told to the angels that he had to create a being that will be his representative in the world. And he said, Iza sawaytuhu wa nafakhtu fihi min ruhi fakhaw lahu sajidin. He said, when I give him form and then I pour my spirit inside him, all of you bow down to him and glorify him. So, in one part, we see the creation of the world as a form that Allah prepared to bring his life. So the whole universes are manifestation of some Allah's attribute, but the essence of Allah has been poured inside Sayyidina Adam, who became the representative of Allah. Therefore, we see that the whole universe, with the creation of Allah, has received the light of Allah. Therefore, we notice that Allah created two forms of being: the universes and Adam. And it is a law, a divine law, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never created a form, a fashioned form, without that form to get a spirit, meaning ruh. So all the created beings that are in the universe have soul. That's what we call soul, the ruh. And Allah created Adam, who have a particular soul, because the soul of Adam is the essence of Allah. He said it in the Quran. إِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. Min ruhi means from my soul. If I give him form and I put inside him from my soul, the soul of Adam is coming from the soul of Allah. إِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. If when I created him and put inside him my soul, means إِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, from my soul. Or soul, ruh, is soul. The soul from Allah is divine soul. It is that divine soul that Allah put it inside Sayyidina Adam. But he created the other being with other soul that are coming from his attributes and names. So it means the essence of Allah has been poured inside Muhammad, inside Sayyidina Adam, for that to become his soul. And we all know that the concept of representation of Allah in the earth is just explained by that. If you can be a representative of someone, it means that you have the ability of being a substitute of that person. if you want to replace me in my office, you must have the same skills as me. If not, the type of representation will never be perfect. So Allah brought Adam to be his vicegerent in the creation, in the whole universe. And with that vicegerence, he acted throughout him by contemplating the part of his soul that is inhabited that being called Adam. Therefore, Allah had the ability of seeing himself inside Adam, who's being acting as him. But there are very, 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 very deep knowledge in that concept of Khalifatullahi fil Ardi, meaning the representative of Allah in the earth. So let us know that Allah has created with his two hands, which call Al-Faidul Muqaddas and Al-Faidul Muqaddas. Al-Faidul Muqaddas is the pure irradiation, and the Faidul Aqdas means the purest irradiation. Allah, by his creation, by his act of creating, irradiated beings from himself out of nothing. Out of nothing, Allah created beings from himself. And we can see in the Khasa'id of Surah Tuba where he said, "Anta allazi arashtana min al-wujud al-alimi kaini bil khafri shadid." You are the one who existentiated us from your being. So all the creatures, wherever you can go, in any universe, are just emanation of the divine being. But they are emanation from the names of Allah, they are emanation from the attributes of Allah, but they are emanation from the essence of Allah. The emanation, meaning the beings emanated, created from the names of Allah, that is what you can see in the physical world. Anything that you can touch and experience it is coming from the names of Allah. That is what is called in Tawheed Ma'nawiyatu. That will be a subject of teaching, and there are courses about it. But we are just in the introduction, so I'm trying to give you an approachable view of what the teaching will be. Meaning the manifested world, all the manifested world are emanation of Allah's name. But the angelic world, that is what we call Mahani, you see, are coming from the attributes of Allah. It is in that area that you can put what is called Malakut, Jabarut, and so on. It is metaphysical. And there is what is called Baqiyatu Salbiyatu, the divine plane of existence, the attributes of Allah that will never be manifested. Yeah, because there are some attributes of Allah that cannot be manifested, because they belong to the endless world. The endless world is the divine world, and there are two main attributes that cannot be integrated or understand or how can I say, I don't know the term in English again, how we say it, phagocytose. So what I want to mean is that, for example, if you take the attribute of the eternal has no ending. Created beings have ends. They will finish one day. And Allah will never finish. So how can a being that will finish, will be able to appreciate in its wholesome a being that will never end, that will never finish? It's not possible. That is what we call Bible. It is the attributes of transcendence. Allah is above all kind of knowledge human being can have. by his essence, but by his emanations, by his manifestation, the attributes, and some names, human beings can have knowledge about Allah. So that is why it is very interesting to get inside Tawhid, because Allah has two attributes that don't seem to be compatible at first, meaning the transcendence of Allah and His immanency, meaning by that Allah cannot, is above all that human being can imagine, because He is endless. He is the khidam, the pre-existent without beginning, and He is baqa, the eternal without end. So, concerning knowing Allah in His attributes, His name, and His essence, this is an introduction, and we will go further about this knowledge and hikmah the more we go. But let's come back to the main subject of our discussion of today, is the creation of the universes. Allah created the universes to bring out His attributes, to make contemplation of His attributes. He said in a hadith, "Kuntu kanzan lam uhrif, uridu an uhrifa, wa khalaqtu khalqan fabihi ta'rifuni." I was a treasure, a hidden treasure, and I wanted to be known. I created the creation in which they will know me. So the main purpose of creation is that Allah Himself subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show how bountiful He is, how merciful He is, how great He is. This is the main purpose of creation. So that the creation in its wholesome is just like a mirror for Allah. He contemplates Himself throughout the beings He created, because all the beings are manifestation of names of Allah. They are manifestation of attributes of Allah, and one supreme being, meaning the Khalifatullah fil Ardi, is the manifestation of the essence of Allah. We know that one video will not be sufficient to explain everything. Today was an introduction about this knowledge. Inshallah, this is part 2 of the divine wisdom of creation of the world and the creation of Allah. I will post some PDF to download so that people who are interested to go deeper more inside the knowledge. And the next time will be also the part 2 of the divine wisdom of creation of the world and the creation of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.